Buckle in, sports fans. You're listening to The William Haynes Show. The program will be starting in just a couple of minutes, so grab your popcorn and get ready to enjoy the show. While you're waiting, make sure you're following us on social media at WHBC Stream and staying tuned to WHBCStream.com. We're so glad to have you today on the program, and we'd love to hear from you. Drop us a line on Twitter or call the show 352-639-0036. And thanks again for tuning in.
HBC. Probably the toughest show I've had to do this year. It is. A good evening to you, and how you be? William Haynes here. You there, here on this Thursday night at 10:34. The William Haynes Show is live from the WHBC studio in Tallahassee, Florida. Rays lose Game 4 to the Yankees by a score of 5-1. It was not pretty. The Rays collected only 3 hits over the course of the game and didn't get any hits after the leadoff hit in the 4th inning. So it was a tough watch, perusing social media occasionally during commercial breaks. I gathered that you guys aren't feeling super positive, aren't feeling super great. If you guys know anything about me, you know that I'm not too eager to get too negative. If anything, maybe I get a little bit too positive, and I should have maybe listened a little more when some of the callers last night was trying to humble me going into Game 4. I was very optimistic. I liked the strategy. Ultimately, didn't play out. I know, right off the bat, complaints that you guys probably have about the way this game was strategized by Kevin Cash. You don't like the lineup. I personally would have liked Brasso instead of Lau at second base, and maybe Renfroe instead of Margot in right field. But outside of that, it's all nitpicking stuff. Kevin Cash can only fill in the 9 hitters in marker on the lineup card. It's up to the guys to go out there and actually swing the bat and do anything, get on base, whatever. And it was the hitters that didn't do that tonight, and I know probably the more, significant one, you don't like how the pitching was used, and that's fine. I think there's 2 sides to that coin. We've got to this point. The Rays were up 2-1 because Kevin Cash was able to play Game 1 conservatively, and then was able to kind of do his thing in Games 2 and 3 and take the momentum. Well, the offense wasn't giving Cash anything, and so he said, fine, I'm just going to play this conservative, and I'm going to throw the absolute kitchen sink at the Yankees tomorrow. And you don't want to get into a Game 5 with this team, but Kevin Cash wasn't left with much of a choice, because let me pose this to you. Let's say, he burns up the bench, does all the pinch hitting stuff. Obviously, they can all play tomorrow. But let's say, he uses, Nick Anderson, maybe, as early as, the second inning to clean up that miss for Ryan Thompson, or Diego Castillo comes in for a 3rd straight day, or take your pick of any kind of those A guys. Peter Fairbanks was warming. Let's say he brings him in for an inning and maybe another out or 2. Then, even if you lose, you're going into Game 5 in a really, really bad spot. So, Bellyache all you want. I'm not going to be negative to anyone that was negative about tonight. I mean, if you guys want to call in and complain, that's fine. Your opinions will be on the record and respected, and everyone listening to the program will be able to hear. I'll go ahead and open up the line now. It's 877-566-1020. Taking your calls until we get off the air. The Bucs are on Thursday Night Football right now. To me personally, I mean, I'm a big football fan, but to me, I mean, the Rays are really important. I don't want to get too carried away, so I'm going to try and keep this as structured as possible. I just want to get Game 4 out of the way, put it in the rear view, and then for the rest of the show, we'll talk Game 5 strategy, whatever. But if you have questions, comments, concerns, whatever, please call in. Again, 877-566-1020. So, again, the Rays going into Game 4 up 2-1. If they had won this game, they could have popped the champagne, clinch their ticket to the ALCS. It's going to be the Astros that make it there for the fourth straight year after they beat the Athletics today. So that's what would be awaiting the Rays down the line, but you have to get there first. Going into this game, I guess I thought about maybe playing the kind of the monologue kind of lead-in clip like I did for the first couple games, but I want to just put this game in the rear view as soon as possible. But just perspective, I guess, going into this game, I was listening to a lot of New York sports radio going into the game, and just to kind of get an idea, I listened to an interview that Aaron Boone did with them at 5 o'clock leading into the game. But for the Rays, we knew it was going to be Ryan Thompson, the opener. We had presumed could have been just the 1, 2, 3 hitters. Maybe he faces the lineup all the way through. He ends up facing 10 batters, goes an inning and 2/3, 2 runs. Got into a bases-loaded situation. He was able to get out of it. Yarbrough actually got the final out of that bases-loaded jam. So Thompson gives you 1 2/3, so it ultimately gives you 5 outs, faces the lineup one time through, and faces DJ LeMahieu twice, and LeMahieu got a single and batted a run in the second time. And then it was Ryan Yarbrough, who I had anticipated, and it seemed like a lot of kind of baseball-wise guys were saying, well, a guy like Ryan Yarbrough, a soft tosser against his power-hitting Yankees lineup, probably just faced the lineup one time through, wouldn't face any Yankee hitter a second time. Well, he ends up facing the big boys 3 times and the rest of the guys twice. So he faces, it looks like, let's see, DJ LeMahieu, I think he only faces 1 time. He faces Aaron Judge 3 times, Aaron Hicks 3 times, and Giancarlo Stanton 3 times. And then Voit, Gardner, Torres, Urshela, and Higashioka, he faced 2 times. So he got pretty deep. He faced ultimately 21 batters, got through 5 innings, so got you some big outs. Probably was left in a little longer than maybe some people would like. I'm kind of split on the decision because just like you did in Game 3, you saved all your bullpen guys for tomorrow. Nick Anderson has only pitched 1 time in this series. Diego Castillo has pitched twice, but he'll be good to go. Let me just get the roster up. I mean, Peter Fairbanks will be ready. But also of note, Oliver Drake with a tendon flexor or something like that. He's going to be out probably for a while, but they take him off the ALDS roster and put on Trevor Richards. I saw some people maybe asking about that over Josh Fleming. Someone had posed righty-lefty, and that makes sense too because all the Yankees hitters basically are right-handed. But also, they didn't want to put Josh Fleming in this spot. I think they didn't even want to have to bring him up to the majors this year as he's still kind of developing. He hasn't even played a full season at AAA yet. He just played like a month in AAA last season. So he's not necessarily ready to make that jump. It's not like Shane McClanahan where you're like, all right, let's just throw him out there in the playoffs and see what he does. Fleming doesn't have the overpowering fastball. So Trevor Richards, obviously not a super talented guy, but at 27 years old, a little bit more, been there, done that. I don't think he's pitched in the postseason, but he's actually pitched pretty decently. I know he had like a couple of 4-inning outings against the New York Yankees this season, so you like the matchups there. But I mean, for Game 5, I don't think you're going to see him. I mean, at most, I'd thrown guys out there like Drake and now Richards, and guys like maybe an Aaron Loop to just face 3 batters and you pull them out just to try and keep the chain moving. So again, Game 5, all hands are on deck. I told you guys that Blake Snell would be in the bullpen and would potentially go in. I think he would have pitched if the Rays had the lead, but to digress, they did not ever have the lead at any point in this game, so no need to come in. He's pitched on 2 days rest in the postseason before. Tyler Glasnow was also in the pen. I know Kevin Cash did an interview on like outside of the dugout in between innings, and he said the only guy that wasn't available was Charlie Morton, who had just pitched the day before. So all hands were on deck. The offense didn't do their job, so Kevin Cash went more conservative with the pitching. Again, I understand that maybe you hate that decision, and that's fine. Let's talk after Game 5 and see, because you didn't want to get to the Game 5, and I would have been pissed if the offense maybe put up 3 or 4 runs and Cash hung them out to dry and then just left in, Yarbrough and Slegger or something like that. No, I mean, if the offense showed any ability to get on base and score runs, Kevin Cash would have emptied the bullpen a little more, but the offense didn't, so Kevin Cash kept the cards close to the vest and set himself up for a Game 5, because Vegas, whatever you look at, Yankees in a 1-game playoff, because that's what this is, the Yankees are going to be favored. They've got the back end bullpen guys that the national media always talks about. 1 through 9, the hitters are great. They're there. I mean, the fact you got to face LeMahieu, Judge, Hicks, Stanton, and then after that, you've got a guy in Voit that led the majors in home runs. He had one tonight. And then, Torres, who hit a massive home run, put the game out of reach. Urshela, maybe even Gary Sanchez would be play catcher tomorrow for Garrett Cole. I have no idea. And we'll keep I'll just keep our eyes on maybe game starters for tomorrow. It doesn't look like they've been announced yet. A lot of talk that Garrett Cole is going to pitch on short rest. I don't believe he's ever done that. Okay, so we have some stuff now from Mark Tompkin on Twitter. Tyler Glasnow, whoa, is starting Game 5. All right, so I'm going to try and save that a little bit later in the show if I can, but that's big. Tompkins says Cash doesn't commit to Snell for Game 5, says they are talking about options, and it will be an all-hands-on-deck approach. So that's what we have right now. So that's crazy. I wouldn't imagine Tyler Glasnow is going to be on 2 days rest, so probably no more than 2 innings. Maybe he just blows that fastball through the top of the order, maybe gets through the lineup a time through like Ryan Thompson did, and then maybe you have Snell go for 3 or so innings back off of that, and then you got Nick Anderson for 2, and so on and so forth. So I know I said I wouldn't get ahead of myself, and I do. Tyler Glasnow starting Game 5. It looks like it's going to be against Garrett Cole. He's never started in short rest, I believe, in his career. So it would be something new for him. I know he was going to pitch in the World Series at Game 7 last year, and they didn't put him in. So I don't know. We'll be seeing Garrett Cole at some point tomorrow. They're not paying him $33 million this year for him to not pitch into Game 5. So just keep that in mind. Again, Glasnow and probably Snell as well with the whole bullpen. So again, back to what I was saying. I'll just reiterate it once again. You want to complain about the way Cash did the pitching? Fine. He probably could have maneuvered it a little bit better. I think some of those runs at the end could have been avoided. I think Yarbrough was left in a tad too long, and then Slegers, I think he ended up getting out of it at almost a grand slam for Aaron Hicks, and that would have put the pie on the face of the Rays, no doubt. But I don't know. Again, everyone is saved for Game 5. I thought maybe Nick Anderson could have been used a little more in this series, but I think really ultimately the indicator is the offense did nothing again. After a leadoff single by Ji-Man Choi in the 4th inning, there was no hits for the Rays. They had no hits the rest of the way through, just 2 walks. Again, just 3 hits total on the night. They got the bases loaded in the 3rd inning. They got the sac fly for Brandon Lau, and that was it. And I'll transition to that now. And again, I don't know, I probably should take a break and repost the link again, but if you've got anybody listening, you want to call in, I'll just throw out the line one more time, 877-566-1020. But if not, the Rays lineup, I'll go defensively first. They made a lot of subs, but defensively in the outfield from left to right, it was Arozarena in left, Kiermaier in center. In right field, it was Manny Margot, and in the infield from third to first, it was Joey Wendell at third, Willie Adames at shortstop, Brendan Lau at second base, Ji-Man Choi played first, Yandy Diaz was the DH, Mike Zunino did the catching, and of course the starting pitcher was Ryan Thompson. And then the order of the lineup, it was Yandy Diaz led off, followed by Lau and Arozarena. Choi cleaned up, then Margot and Wendell, and a bottom 3 of Adames, Kiermaier, and Zunino. A lot of zeros. Brandon Lau, I think, was huge. He got the sac fly, and maybe you think he was going to be able to start turning things around. Not really. Looking at his line, I mean, he worked a walk in the 8th inning, and that was fine. But just he's swinging and missing at pitches inside the zone, kind of like Austin Meadows. And he's a guy. He carried this team 3 times during the regular season, and they certainly would have gotten anywhere close to 40 wins if not for what he did with the bat. But he's gone cold at the season's most critical time, and the fact that Kevin Cash has continued to play him every game in this series and bat him second in the order, to me, I don't love that. Kevin Cash is a big show faith in your guys, and I know I saw some complaints from some of the Rays fans about that. Is it's enough for those kind of games, the psychology, whatever, showing faith in guys. This is the playoffs. I don't know. I guess if the Rays are going to lose, they might as well lose with their best. And Brandon Lau, I guess, would be that at second base. I'll just reiterate, I would have preferred to see the at second base, the right-hander Mike Brasso. The lefty starter for the Yankees was Jordan Montgomery, and if you recall, Montgomery did not get out of the first inning in his only appearance against the Rays this season, and Mike Brasso had a home run off of him. So you like that matchup. They haven't really seen Montgomery, obviously, again, they haven't really seen him this year or at any point because Montgomery's missed a lot of the past 2 seasons. But Montgomery gave the Yankees a lot more than I think anyone expected. 4 innings of just a run, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, but that was in part because just the hitters for the Rays. I don't know what the deal was. I mean, they've been so good, overachieving, so I guess at some point they were going to have to come down. I mean, they scored 7 runs in Game 2, 8 in Game 3. That's just not who the Rays are, so they came back. I guess the law of averages is kind of coming into play here where the Rays only put up 1 in Game 4 where they can win and move on and send the Yankees home, and that's disappointing to see. The Rays are a team that play, I think, well with their backs against the wall, but when it comes to a team that can put the foot on the throat of another team, that they're just not that club right now. They don't have those kind of killers. Without Randy Arozarena would be that guy. He's been absolutely on fire, and again, more of the law of averages. So 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. I mean, including once with runners in scoring position, they went 0 for 4 in that category tonight, and then 5 total men left on base. Choi 1 for 4, Margot 0 for 4. Again, I would have liked to see Renfroe there. Renfroe did get a pinch hit opportunity, 0 for 1. Wendell 0 for 2 gets subbed for Brasso. So ultimately, that Wendell Brasso slot ended up being 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts, and then really the only other thing they got offensively, Willie Damas worked a couple of walks, and that was good to see him kind of have that eye. And then Kevin Kiermaier, 1 for 2, but he also recorded an out in a pretty big spot. He had a ground rule double that was part of the bases loaded situation in the 3rd inning, and then I believe with 2 men on in 2 outs, he grounded out to first base. So left a lot of meat on the bone there. Just disappointing. The offense let the team down, no doubt. And again, the pitching, I wouldn't make much of it. This was Cash playing it conservatively. The guys that hadn't pitched yet in this series, Thompson had once, but Yarbrough and Sleggers had not. So you give the nod to them because your offense isn't doing anything, and you move on. So with that being said, I don't really have much else to say about it. We'll give you an inning by inning. Just another note from Mark Tompkin, just as of 1 minute ago. Glasnow says he feels good health-wise to pitch, was available in the bullpen today. I mean, I don't know exactly as far as length that they could potentially get from him. I wouldn't imagine if he pitched tonight it would have been more than an inning or so. And I'm not sure how much more you open that up for tomorrow on 2 days rest. I can maybe try and dig that up on a break and see kind of what he's done for the Pirates, because I know he started off his career as a reliever in Pittsburgh, and the Rays transitioned him to a starter because that's really what he is. But so he knows how to pitch out of the bullpen. That much is certain. Snell has that experience, so all hands on deck. I mean, you look at that, you think that you'd be able to hold the Yankees to just maybe a handful of runs, but the long ball can catch you at the worst times, and that can really get the game out of reach. But I mean, like I said, Nick Anderson, Diego Castillo, Pete Fairbanks, Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, maybe even Charlie Morton for 3 batters. I don't know. But everyone's available, and it'll be fun. It's going to be devastating if the Rays lose, but if they if they end up winning, it'll just be that much sweeter, and to send the Yankees home in a Game 5 would be pretty cool. But with that being said, we'll do inning by inning discussion now. All right, so top of the first against Jordan Montgomery, Yandy Diaz leadoff single on the third pitch that he sees. It was just a cutter up and in at 88, and Jordan Montgomery's not a guy that throws a lot of heat, so Yandy Diaz gets on to start off, and then Brandon Lau on the first pitch that he sees, a slider kind of middle into him, and this was kind of the first of his kind of miscues. Grounds it to a double play to kind of get rid of that, and then Arozarena strikes out. Swung and missed at a cutter and two curveballs. It just I don't know what it was with him, and obviously he's not going to light it up every night. We had a discussion on last night's show about like his long-term future with the Rays, and of course he's not going to hit a home run every night. That's just not what baseball is. So and that's another point that I just wanted to make. We said that, scoring the 7 in Game 2 and the 8 in Game 3 and getting absolutely nothing out of your first two hitters, that's pretty much impossible. But they had Randy Arozarena in the third slot getting on like 3 or 4 times every night and hitting a home run. Well, tonight, let's see, the top 3 hitters combined to go 1 for 10. That's all you got. So makes sense you're only going to score 1 run, because if those are your best hitters and they're not performing, what is the other guy supposed to do? And a ton of zeros put up by the guys towards the bottom of the lineup. So the Rays get a quick leadoff batter, and then Montgomery gets through it. At that point, you didn't feel great about it, because I think the Rays' best chance in this one was to jump on Montgomery early, and that would have been having Brasso and, in my opinion, Renfroe bat in the first inning. I probably would have had Brasso maybe lead off, maybe batting third, and then Renfroe I would have had batting cleanup. And then if the Yankees want to get cheeky and swap to the righty, then fine, you make those substitutions accordingly, and then go with the lineup that you ended up having anyway. You put Margot in and you put Lau in, and that's the end of it. I understand that Cash wanted to have, I guess, those pinch hits ready for later, but no point in them, because you only score one run and get 3 hits. Bottom of the first, Ryan Thompson on to open. He has an 0-2 count to DJ LeMahieu, and it was just a slider middle, and LeMahieu's singles. It's ruled an infield single, but I think it got through. Struck out Aaron Judge in a 6-pitch at bat. It was just a fastball with a lot of movement that ran into him. That was good. Got Aaron Hicks to ground out. DJ LeMahieu moves into second base, so they get the go-ahead run in scoring position with Giancarlo Stanton coming up, and then you strike him out. It was a fastball at 94 up and in. So in the first inning, Ryan Thompson was challenging guys, and I think that was everyone's concern with him in the second inning that he pitched, is you wish that he could have done that more after the home run, and that was kind of where it unraveled for him. Top of the second, Montgomery's still on, and nothing for the Rays. Choi grounds out, Margot grounds out, and Wendell strikes out. I don't know. Choi got a 1-1 count. Margot worked a 2-1. Wendell struck out on a 2-2 pitch. So they saw some pitches. Just ultimately, I mean, it's not overpowering stuff that this guy is working with. I mean, he's got a curveball, fine, and then the sinker, and it doesn't. Yeah, I guess that's his. Or no, he does have a 4-seam fastball and a sinker. But I mean, again, booted him out of the first inning, and the last time they faced him, and Montgomery was able to kind of cruise through 4. I thought. Bottom of the second, Ryan Thompson on, and this is where it got a little bit hairy. Luke Voit on a 1-0 count was a slider middle, so Thompson left too many of those over the plate, and Voit made him pay. 453 feet to left, an enormous blast made it 1-0 Yankees, and of course they never looked back. Then he walks Brett Gardner, starts him off 0-2, and you're thinking, fine, okay, Ryan Thompson's still doing his thing. And then some foul balls mixed in, but basically 4 balls to him without, punching him out or getting the ground hit or whatever. Just couldn't find the zone. Just a lot of sliders that just wasn't doing anything. And the Yankees hitters, as I've been doing in this series, doing a good job of kind of spitting on those off-speed pitches that are non-competitive. So Gardner walks. Okay, man on with no outs. Then Gleyber Torres comes up. You walk him in 4 pitches. All sinkers, all away to the right-hander, none of them close. Okay, a couple of men on. Then you walk Gio Urshela, only throw 1 strike in the at-bat. So, on a 3-1 count, you walk him. Bases loaded, nobody out. In a 1-0 game in the second, what are you going to do now? And this was kind of the game because of the way the offense was performing. The Rays have held the Yankees to nothing. They shut them out once, and then I think held them maybe to a run or two a couple of other times this season. This is what they were going to have to do if they had any, I guess, eyes on taking the series tonight. So bases loaded, no outs after a home run. That's not a good response from Ryan Thompson. And we had a guy, Seth, called in last night, and he complimented Shane McClanahan for his response after the home run that he allowed to Giancarlo Stanton. And that's a very good point, is with these youngster relievers, response is a big deal because, pitches are going to get away from you sometimes, but how do you react to it? And Thompson did not have a good response. Gives up the leadoff home run, then walks the bases loaded. And then DJ LeMahieu comes up. So you're thinking, okay, they're going to come away with some runs here. Then DJ LeMahieu hits a sacrifice fly for the first out of the inning. And then you're thinking, okay. And then, let's see. It looks like ESPN's got their thing a little bit messed up. So, DJ LeMahieu hits the sac fly to right. Then Aaron Judge comes up. Okay, yeah, so that was the second out of the inning. That was my bad. And then Aaron Judge grounds out to third base on a 2-0 count. So you're thinking that he was going to walk a run in. Or no, that would have just reloaded the bases. But anyway. And then, actually, sorry, I'm all over the place. Yarbrough came in to face Aaron Judge. So after the LeMahieu sac fly, Thompson comes out, Ryan Yarbrough in, and he gets that one out with runners at the corners, so that was good. Yarbrough, I know he's come in relief before, but starting pitching types usually don't like coming on with runners on base. You got to go right to the stretch instead of the windup, all that stuff. Charlie Morton confirmed that was a part of his struggles when the bases loaded jam. He felt really good pitching out of the out of the windup, but he really struggled to pitch out of the stretch, and but although Morton was able to kind of navigate out of that. Top of the third, Montgomery's still on. Adames works the leadoff walk, so that's good. Get a base runner there. Takes some good pitches well outside the zone, some easy takes. Then Kiermaier hits a ground rule double on an 0-2 count. Swings and misses at a fastball way outside the zone, away from the left-hander. Then swings and misses at a curveball in the dirt, and this is the playoff Kevin Kiermaier experience, and usually he's going to strike out during these at-bats, you would think, but occasionally he'll get an extra base hit, and that's exactly what he does. It was just a fastball that was left kind of middle up, I guess, to the lefty, and hits a ground rule double, so that put runners at second and third with nobody out in a 2-0 game. A base hit ties it. You got the 9-1-2 hitters. You got Zunino, Diaz, and Lau. What you going to do? Zunino strikes out as expected. He did work the count full, and it was just an 82-mile-an-hour changeup, nearly middle, and he just swung through it. Just was way early, and oh my gosh, the previous three pitches were off speed stuff. So it wasn't like he was. I don't get it. That's kind of the Zunino experience as well. That's one out. Then up comes Yandy Diaz, and you're expecting that they're not going to really pitch to him. They walk him into 4 pitches, nothing really close. Diaz takes his walk. He didn't get a pitch to hit, so that's fine. You have to take the walk. I didn't want to see Lau in that spot, and the Yankees obviously did. He ends up getting a fielder's choice, kind of against the shift. If it was regular positioning, that would have been a double play, and that would have ended the inning. And then I think you really slam Brandon Lau tonight. I still do it anyway because he to me, he's got to be better than that. If Cash is going to continue to bat him second, but that's neither here nor there. He hits, so that grounder ends up getting to first base to avoid the double play. That makes it 2-1, and then you've still got runners at the corners with 2 outs, with Randy Arozarena coming up. So you got the tying run 90 feet away with 2 outs, and Arozarena in a 2-2 count grounds out. It was just a curveball that was still in the zone, and he couldn't really do much with it. So that was the end of the third inning, but the Rays were in it. 2-1 Yanks. Heading to the bottom of the third, you feel good. And bottom of the third, Ryan Yarbrough on. Hicks hits a single. Then he gets Giancarlo Stanton grounded to the double play. That was big, and then got Voit to ground out right to Yarbrough to end the third inning. Top of the fourth, Montgomery, his fourth and final inning. Choi. So the Rays were getting some leadoff base runners early. Let's see. It was 3 of the first 4 innings. They had a leadoff base runner and just really couldn't do much with it. Just by the way, I'm just going to throw this out there. Just under 5 minutes to go, the Bucks took a field goal. They're now up 19-17 over the Bears, so we'll keep our eyes on that. So anyway, Choi gets on with no outs in the fourth against Montgomery. Up comes Margot. He pops out. Wendell strikes out. Adames works another walk in 4 pitches, second and third, 2 outs for Kevin Kiermaier. And as he does, swings at the first pitch. It was a sinker, kind of middle into him, and he just grounded out to first. And that was where he went 0 for 1 with the runners in scoring position, as I had mentioned earlier. Bottom of the 4th, Yarbrough still on. He worked, again, a full 5 innings tonight. Got Gardner leadoff single. Then Torres flies out. Urshela grounds out. Then Higashioka flies out. So he was able to navigate through the leadoff single there. Keep it 2-1. Top of the 5th. Chad Green comes on, so Jordan Montgomery got him through 4. They go to the pen. Chad Green, who's pitched a lot in this series, he comes on. Zunino flies out to center. Then up comes the top of the order. Yandy Diaz strikes out. Lau strikes out, including Lau was in 3 pitches, all fastballs. Took one, but just swung and missed at the other ones. And they were in the zone. That's the problem with Brandon Lau right now. He's swinging through pitches that are right down the middle. And it just... what are you going to do about that? That you got to be better. You got to at least, hit a single or something. His obsession with exit velocity and getting the doubles and the home runs, fine. But I just want to see him get on base, and he didn't do that. He worked a walk, but that was it for him. So 1-2-3 inning in the 5th. Still 2-1 though. Yarbrough comes on bottom of the 5th, gets DJ LeMahieu. Started off 2-0, then got to 2-2 and got him to ground out on a changeup well outside the zone for out number 1. Then he walks Aaron Judge in 4 pitches. Couldn't find the zone there. Gets Aaron Hicks to pop out on 1 pitch. Then struck out Giancarlo Stanton. So that was nice to see. They were finally able to quiet Giancarlo Stanton. I know I saw some people say, quiet him and we win. Well, not exactly. But got him out there. After 5, it was 2-1 Rays. And again, as I mentioned, after that leadoff single by Choi in the 4th, no hits the rest of the way for the Rays, and that really hurt. Chad Green comes on in the top of the 6th, does what he did in the 5th. Randy Arozarena grounds out. It was the 7th pitch of the at-bat, but it was a curveball pretty much down the middle and couldn't do anything with it. Choi flies out, Margot flies out. So it was a quick, easy inning for Chad Green. Bottom of the 6th, this is where things pretty much got out of hand, and Andy Freed calling the game on WDAE. He could kind of feel the game get out of hand, and I was with him there. Yarbrough on. Gets Voit to fly out in 1 pitch, although I think that was one that I want to say almost got out for out number 1. Then Gardner hit a single, started him off 0-2, and then on a 2-2 count gave him a sinker that was kind of down and away, but not enough. And Gardner was able to kind of was able to hit the other way. Yeah, I think hit the other way. So he gets on with 1 out. Then Gleyber Torres comes up. And first pitch he sees, I mean, not a bad pitch, I suppose, an 84-mile-an-hour cutter that was kind of middle into him, and he just he pulled it 410 feet to left. It was in up at the top of the warehouse building in left. That made it 4-1 Yankees, and that put the game out of reach. Urshela grounds out, Higashioka hits a single, and then gets DJ LeMahieu to ground out. Top of the 7th, Zach Britton comes on, so they're going to the A bullpen. They got to lock it down. The Yanks needed to force a game 5. Brasso strikes out swinging, pinch hits for Wendell. Not a good at-bat. Again, pinch hitting is hard, especially in the playoffs. Not going to knock him for that. Did have the righty on lefty advantage, though. Would have liked to see him start. Gets the pinch hit, so can't knock him too hard for that. Does strike out twice, including for the final out. But anyway, Adames grounds out to second base. Then Renfroe pitch hits for Kiermaier, and he grounds out. So a couple of guys that I would have liked to see start do get at-bats and don't do anything with them against Zach Britton. Bottom of the 7th, substitutions made. Margot comes into center, Brasso at third, Renfroe in right field. Yarbrough still on, by the way, after giving up that 2-run homer. So, and that was in the 7th inning. So it just, you could tell Cash had kind of, he had punted to game 5. That much was clear. Judge flies out, Hicks grounds out, and Stanton hits a double. So got through, I guess, the top of the order basically there. You bring in Sleggers at that point with Stanton on second with 2 outs and gets Luke Voit to line out. So that was nice to see Sleggers get out of that, keep it 4-1. 6 outs left for the Rays. Zach Britton still on, gets both Mike Zunino and Yandy Diaz to strike out, just a bad at-bat. For Yandy Diaz, I mean, he fouled off 3 pitches to start and then swung and missed at a sinker outside the zone. And that's all Britton throws, by the way, is just all sinker balls. So with 2 outs, bases clear, in comes Aroldis Chapman because Britton had gotten, at that point, it was 5 outs. And that's what Aaron Boone had said before the game. Both of those guys would be available for 4 and 5 outs. Britton ended up getting 5. Chapman got 4. So everything worked as according to plan for the Yankees skipper. Chapman on, he walks Brandon Lowe to start. Was kind of struggle finding control on the fastball. Then struck out Arozarena in 3 pitches, including basically a show-me pitch, 100-mile-an-hour sinker right down the heart of the plate, and Arozarena just swung through it. So there you go. Bottom of the 8th, it's 4-1. Slegers remains on, gets Gardner to strike out. Then Torres singles off of him. Urshela lines out, so you've got 2 outs there. Torres deals second, so they get a runner in scoring position, and Higashioka singles him in to make it 5-1. LeMahieu singles. Judge gets on base via an error, so the bases are all loaded up with 2 outs. And then Hicks flies out to right, but it was nearly got out. It almost was a grand slam, and of course that would have made it 9-1, and that would have been unfortunate anyway. It says 5-1. Final 3 outs for the Rays. Aroldis Chapman still on, gets the final 3 outs. G-Man Choi flies out. Margot lines out. And Mike Brasso facing Aroldis Chapman for the first time since, September 1st, September 2nd. Strikes out. 8-pitch at bat, whatever. Chapman gets I don't think it's the save, but finishes the game. So I at this point, I don't know really what else to say. It's disappointing when you have a 2-1 lead in a best of 5, and after the 4th inning, you basically punt on the game. I don't blame Kevin Cash because the lineup wasn't giving him anything. It's not like Kevin Cash could have gone out there himself with the bat and tried to do something. So he's playing his cards for Game 5, and if the Rays take Game 5, none of this crap matters. Kevin Cash is lauded as the best manager in baseball, all that stuff. They'll go on to play the Astros. If they lose, I don't think you point to this game, at least on Kevin Cash. You blame the Rays for this game because the offense was absolutely horrendous, as, by the way, it has been quite consistently during stretches this season. And I have always pointed out, if the Rays lose at any point this season, it's gonna, lose out of the playoffs, it's going to be because they struggle with men on base and they can't hit with runners in scoring position. The trend continues. They go 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. Kiermaier 0 for 1. Zunino 0 for 1. But then your top 2 guys, Arozarena and Lau, both 0 for 1. You got to get more out of that. And let's say that game was close. The Rays offense did more early on. The Yankees probably aren't scoring those 4th and 5th runs. It would be 2-1, and you go to your A bullpen, and maybe your offense puts up a couple of runs, and you got a lead, and you get this thing locked down, and then you're facing Houston on Sunday. So that didn't happen. Cash punted. That is what it is. I'm gonna put this game to bed. I think it's a good thing ultimately that there's no off day. I guess maybe for rest purposes, but people in sports will tell you momentum in a game is a real thing, but it doesn't really carry from one game to another. So just the Rays need to get this out of their head. Go back to being the offense that they were in games 2 and 3, where they scored 7 and 8 runs respectively, and beat the Yankees at their own game. So if they can get back to that, I don't imagine Game 5 will be that way. Game 5's like this, all hands on deck scenarios. Usually, are low scoring. I imagine this game is going to be 3-2 or something like that, unless the Yankees just start hitting home runs out of nowhere, which definitely don't rule that out. But again, I guess we'll spend the rest of the show previewing tomorrow's game, I guess, whatever there is to discuss. Again, the line is still open if we have anyone listening, 877-566-1020. What we'll do now, we'll take a short break, and then we'll come back, preview tomorrow's game, and also talk a little Bucks. It looks like they can put this one away. Just under 3 minutes left, the Bucks have the lead. So give you some scores, and we'll be right back.
HBC 2020 Sports.
Major League Baseball playoffs, a couple of series wrapped up, and one that is close to being wrapped up as well. The first of which early this afternoon, it was the Braves 7-0 over the Miami Marlins. They sweep that series, the first playoff series loss ever in the Miami Marlins franchise history. Also, it was the Houston Astros 11-6 over the Oakland Athletics, and what I would consider to be an upset. Houston wins that series 3-1 and will advance to the American League Championship Series to play the winner of tomorrow's game between the Rays and the Yankees. And finally, top of the fifth, it's the Dodgers 7-2 over the Padres. The Dodgers are up 2-0, so still a little bit of ways to go, but the Dodgers are just a handful of outs away from punching their ticket to the National League Championship Series to play the Braves for the right to go to the World Series. It'll be 3rd down and long, 2.5 minutes left inside their own 15 for the Bucs. They're up 19-17 on the Bears, so we'll keep our eyes on that. Again, number to call during the break, talk Rays, whatever, 877-566-1020. We'll be right back.
Hey, sports fans, William's currently in the can, but he'll be right back. We're currently on a commercial break, so don't touch that dial. Remember, you can call us at 352-639-0036 or drop us a line on Twitter at WHBCStream to tell us what's on your mind. We want to talk sports. We want to get unruly. We want you to tell us what you think so we can argue. Anyway, when all that's said and done, please stay tuned for William's world-famous Around the XFL podcast and other projects that he's currently got in the works. Please visit WHBCStream.com, and thanks again for listening in.
Sports Radio 101.9 FM. Sports Radio 66. Sports Radio
HBC. At 11:14, we are back on the William Haynes Show. During the break, I saw a tweet from Bob Nightingale. He's got a quote from Luke Voigt that he's guaranteeing the win. He said, quote, "We are going to win it." So I saw something that's kind of funny, the double jinx. For whatever reason, if you're not familiar, Bob Nightingale, whenever he tweets out something like so-and-so is performing well or so-and-so isn't doing well, it always ends up going the other way. He always ends up jinxing everything. And then you throw that in there, the Bob Nightingale jinx, along with, whenever a player guarantees a win. The most recent example of that, I know Jimmy Butler, I think, had guaranteed a win in Game 2 of the NBA Finals, and they ended up losing to the Lakers. So I don't know, man. Luke Voigt is definitely one of those guys. He definitely reminds me of a Jason Giambi type. That's just kind of the guy that he seems like to me. And then a programming note that we have. If the Padres beat the Dodgers tonight, which probably won't happen, the game tomorrow for the Rays moves up to 6:10. If the Dodgers win, the game stays at 7:10. So, just whatever. So it looks like the game tomorrow will be at 7:10. We know right now it will be Tyler Glasnow going for the Rays and Garrett Cole going for the Yankees. We have the starting pitching matchup. Definitely not what I would have expected from a Rays perspective. I would have expected maybe an opener type and then have someone go behind. If they were going to have either guy start, I would have assumed it would be Snell for a couple of reasons. One, because he's more familiar with being a starter. Glasnow's got more experience coming out of the pen. And two, Blake Snell is on an extra day's rest and could give them some more length. So really, Tyler Glasnow, let's be realistic. I'm not super familiar. I actually did look up some stuff today because I was curious about guys on 2 days rest. Madison Bumgarner, he went like 9 innings in a World Series game against the Royals and threw 100 pitches or so. pitched on 2 days rest and threw the final 5 innings of Game 7. And that was a superhuman effort, and that's just Madison Bumgarner. So I don't expect Tyler Glasnow to go 5 innings. I'll give you that. But, I mean, are we going to rule out 2, 3 innings? I mean, you would think if Kevin Cash is going to show his hand and play Glasnow this early, you would think it would be more for 1 inning, right? I mean, let's take a look at probably what the Yankees lineup is going to be. It's relatively the same every day with some slight variations. For example, Stanton cleaned up, I think, the last couple of games instead of... Or no, it was just today. Stanton batted 4th instead of 5th. So him and Luke Voit swap spots. So in the first inning, Glasnow will have to face LeMahieu, Judge, Hicks. And that's just the first 3 hitters. And then after that, I mean, it'll be Voit, Stanton, and maybe Brett Gardner, however they decide to go. So I'll just flip over the scorecard. Let's see. Glasnow start in Game 2. Top of the first inning, or let's just do this. DJ LeMahieu, let's see, against Glasnow DJ LeMahieu went 0 for 3. Aaron Judge went 0 for 3. Aaron Hicks went 1 for 1 with a walk, and Luke Voit went, looks like 0 for 1 with a walk. Giancarlo Stanton went 2 for 2 with 2 homers. Urshela 0 for 2. Torres 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Clint Frazier 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. So there you go, right there. That's basically no one really besides Stanton really got to Glasnow in that start, and that's been his bugaboo is the solo home runs and I guess a traditional start. So I guess outlook is good. Again, we don't really know, and Cash obviously won't say. Even if they ask him point blank, he'll still find a way to maneuver it. So I don't know. I would say honestly, get Glasnow just a time through the order. I don't care how many outs. I don't care the score. Well, maybe. I want him to face 9 batters. Just get me through the order once, see where we're at, and obviously it's all subject to change. I mean, let's say he faces the first 3 hitters, bases loaded jam. Honestly, to me, I mean, I'm just throwing out a really negative hypothetical here. If Tyler Glasnow loads the bases with no outs to start the game in the first inning, I'm bringing out Nick Anderson because I know he's going to put out the flame. And I can't give up runs that early in the contest in a Game 5. But and I was if what happened in Game 4 happens tomorrow, where it was bases loaded in the second inning, I fully expect Nick Anderson to come out because honestly, that is the highest leverage situation of the game. You got to get those outs there. So don't be surprised to see Nick Anderson abnormally early. And of course, if he comes out in the second or third inning, the Rays are going to lose because that means just things are going horribly wrong and the Yankees are on it. The Yankees are playing with confidence. They always do. I mean, they're the big bully, and the Rays kind of humbled them a bit, and then the Yankees came back and did what they did in Game 4. So, I don't know. I think the Yankees are probably coming into Game 5 with a bit more confidence, but and that, I guess, is a little bit concerning because when those guys get hot, seeing Torres do what he did, Aaron Hicks, I think, played a little bit better tonight. I mean, just, again, 1 through 9 is going to be tough. Maybe they throw Stanton in there as kind of a curveball just to see if he can get a home run or 2 because he's most likely due from that perspective. And then, so to me, Glasnow, get me a time through the order. Then let me pull up the roster. I'm not going to hand it off to Snell that early, although on 3 days rest, he could go. I mean, Blake Snell could go 4 innings. So I don't know. I would maybe, depending on where you're at, because hear me out here. Kind of I guess we're getting real convoluted with the opener here. Just hear me out. Tyler Glasnow faces the first 9 batters. So then you go back to the top, and who's going to face LeMahieu, Judge, and Hicks? Well, get one of your relievers to do it. Have Fairbanks in the 3rd or 4th inning do it. Face the 1, 2, 3 hitters. Then I'm going to hand it off to Snell. So that way he can get some length, and he doesn't have to see those guys twice through, but he can see the other guys through. I don't give a crap if he faces Brett Gardner or Gleyber Torres or Gio Urshela twice. But I do care if he has to face LeMahieu or Judge a second time. So you can avoid that. Maybe not Fairbanks. Maybe find someone with some better matchups. I'm not going to use Castillo or Anderson that early unless it's a real jam. I don't know. I mean, it's all hands on deck. I don't know if Sleggers is going to be available for much. He threw, let's see. Slegers threw 31 pitches. I don't know. Yarbrough, I know, is not going to be available. Charlie Morton probably would not be, just at his age, and he's going to be on 1 day's rest. So those are the only two guys that wouldn't come in. I don't think Trevor Richards is going to pitch. I don't see that. I don't think Shane McClanahan would really pitch, and I don't really want to use Aaron Loop either. But then you're looking at guys like John Curtis to get outs and Aaron Slegers. So I don't know. We may see some guys, and also Ryan Thompson. There's no way he could pitch tomorrow, right? He threw a career-high 44 pitches. There's no way he pitches tomorrow. So you really are kind of backed into a bit of a corner, and that's where the starters come into play, because also Vita Vea getting carted off the field. That's a very, very bad sign. Anyway, it's going to be tough. Snell, I honestly think give him 4 innings, and they may just go back-to-back Glasnow and Snell, and that's fine if they go that way. But again, I just like that. Let Glasnow face the order one time through, no matter how many innings or batters that takes, unless it's, super crazy. Then have a guy just face the top 3 hitters so that Snell doesn't have to see him twice, and then just let Snell face 15, 16 batters. And then depending on the score, depending on the game, you've got Nick Anderson can easily get 2 innings. I don't know if Castillo could get 2 innings, but he can maybe get you 4, 5 outs, might be pushing it. And then I did not do an out count, but I think by that point you're pretty close to being done with the game. And then I guess at some point, maybe a guy like Aaron Loop faces 3 batters. John Curtis can face Guy Slegers. So that's it for the pitching. And then on the Yankees side of things, it's all hands on deck for them as well. It's going to be Tyler Glasnow going for the Yanks. He's starting on short rest. Looking at, let's just see his line. Actually, yeah, let me just pull up both of their lines. I know Cole started in game 1. Glass is starting game 2. So, and yeah, let me see the lineup that they did against Cole as well. So, in game 1, Cole got the win, went 6 innings strong. Gave up 3 earned runs on 6 hits, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, 97 pitches. In the process, and I have the scorecard right here. I know I'm doing it on the fly, damn it, I have no choice. Let's see, any guys that really did some damage against him. Just the order, I'll give it to you. It was Diaz, Lau, Arozarena, Choi, Margot, Wendell, Adames, Kiermaier, Zunino. So, I mean, they've kind of stuck with the same lineup more or less over the course of the series with some very slight variation. So, I don't know. I would like to see some more left-handers in there just to get them off balance, but who do you really have? I mean, I'm not putting Yandy Diaz in the lineup tomorrow. I'm not. I would maybe have Yoshi in there just to see if he can give you anything. I don't like that matchup, but lefty on righty, screw it. Brandon Lau, I guess you got to keep it in there. Again, if you're going to lose, you got to lose with your best. Choi will play first base, and then I don't know. It's just, you can't get too cute. Like, I'm not going to play Brent Phillips or anything like that. Like, I would go just Randy Arozarena in left, Kiermaier in center, and then in right field, it's probably going to be, okay. Austin Meadows. So Austin Meadows is going to play a piece. If he can play the field, that's great, as he did it in, I think, game 3. So that way you can have your DH opened up for if they want to go Yandy Diaz or Yoshi Tsutsugo. So I'll do that. Randy Arozarena in left, Kiermaier in center, Austin Meadows in right. I'll just have to bet Yoshi is going to be my DH. And then in the infield, I'll go the traditional Wendell at third, Willie at shortstop, Lau at second, and G-Man Choi at first. So that way on the bench, and I'll have Zunino catching. So that way on your bench, you got Michael Perez, Mike Brasso, Manny Margot, Brett Phillips, Hunter Renfroe, and Yandy Diaz. So and so if they want to go platoon or anything crazy like that, they'll be ready for it, and they can make substitutions accordingly. I don't know about structuring the order. I mean, that's kind of a tough thing to do. Lau will bat second. Arozarena will bat third. I would like to see G-Man Choi lead off instead of cleanup, but I know he hasn't been working absolutely great at bats. That's the thing. Who has been working good at bats in this series? I know Seth had mentioned last night maybe put Arozarena in the leadoff spot. That's certainly something that they could do. Austin Meadows, although I think you have to play him in Game 5, but he just has been working some really crummy at bats. But so I don't know if I would bat him leadoff. Honestly, to me, I'd bat Meadows like 6th or 7th. Get his bat in the lineup, but don't put the pressure on him. to have to lead off. Put a guy that's confident right now. So maybe you go Rosarena, but I think they'd rather have him bat with men in front of him. So if he gets a home run, it'll be with men on base. So screw it. I'll go Choi to lead off. Loud to bat second, Rosarena to bat third. I'll go. You can't put Yoshi in cleanup at that spot. But who are you gonna go? Adames maybe. Adames been seeing the ball well. Screw it. I'll put Adames at cleanup. I'll go. I'll put Austin Meadows up a little. Actually, no. I'll go Joey Wendell. I'll put at the 4 spot. At the 6 spot, I'll go Austin Meadows. Then one of the other ones I think that I was missing. And then at the bottom 2, it would just be Kiermaier and Zunino. So I don't know if I got to 9 there, but just right off the cuff, that's really the best I think that I could do. And then just taking a look at the Yankees, everyone should be available for them out of the pen. I mean, looking at guys who pitched tonight, I know, I apologize, it's all on the fly. Chad Green pitched 2 innings, and I think he's pitched, I want to say 3 consecutive days. No, he's pitched on a back-to-back, but I don't. Chad Green might be the only guy that's not available. The A guys, I mean, Britton will pitch, Chapman will pitch. We know Garrett Cole is starting. Devi Garcia, the guy who pitched 1 inning in Game 2, he's available for length because he is on 2 days rest. And he only pitched an inning. So Devi Garcia, I would imagine, may take 2 or 3 innings behind Garrett Cole. So, I mean, honestly, it's tough for Game 5 because you usually play stuff a little earlier than you would normally. But they may get 3 out of Cole and 3 out of Devi Garcia. And then that way they only need 12. That's right, yeah, 12 outs. And they play it that way. Chad Green, I would say, is out. Chapman can probably get you 4 outs. Britton may be able to get you 5 again, so that's pushing it. So, I mean, by that point, you're not need much more. Luis Sessa, Jonathan Holder, Michael King, Loizaga, and then Nick Nelson, and then also Adam Ottavino. I know he's been struggling lately, but he's a guy that I think gets right-handers out pretty well. So you put that, I guess, in that conversation as well. I have no idea what they're going to do for the lineup. I mean, it's the same. Well, I do. It's the same lineup every day. I won't even bother. I'm getting into that. I am kind of trying to delay a little bit to see if we can get the end of this Bucs game. Tom Brady's on a 1-minute drill trying to get a field goal. They're down 20-19. So screw it. Again, that's really it I can say about the Rays, unless I can think of anything. I'll give you a little bit of play-by-play here if we've got anybody still listening. Bears up 20-19. Brady takes a snap at the 35 on 1st and 10. He goes to the sideline and nearly intercepted at the sideline. Was looking for Mike Evans. I know Mike Evans dropped a deep pass right at the start of the second half, and I just glanced over, and Tom Brady was pretty pissed at that. So let me just take a peek at the box score. I know Ronald Jones has been doing a lot of the work at running back because LaShawn McCoy has been out, and I believe Leonard Fournette is out. Yeah, Ronald Jones is taking the only carries. But anyway, it's going to be 2nd and 10. It's at the 37-yard line. Brady takes a snap in the shotgun, steps up in the pocket, gets the dump off to the running back. I believe that's Keyshawn Vaughn. 52 seconds left. No timeout. It's going to be 3rd and 5. So no timeouts. They got to get a first down here. Brady again in the shotgun. He's looking. Throws deep down the field, and it's tipped and over the head of Evans. Evans almost had it in the tip, but it was popped up actually by Gronkowski. So it'll be 4th and 5 with 38 seconds left. Game on the line. Brady's been ripping it from the shotgun. This is going to be a tough game if the Bucs lose. I just have not been paying attention at all. Oh, man, Mike Evans had his man off the line, too, and Brady just went for Gronkowski instead. So let's see what Bruce Arians has on 4th and 5. 38 seconds left from the 39-yard line. They need to get to about the 47. Brady in the shotgun again. Throws deep down the field, and it's broken up. The intended target was Cameron Brate. The pass is incomplete, and no flags are thrown. The Bears will win by a score of 20-19. Ouch! How do you lose this game if you're the Bucs? Brady's looking for something. Taking a look at the replay, Cameron Brate, he was covered. I don't know why Brady would make that throw, trying to get a pass interference call, I think. I mean, he just wasn't open. Right over the hand of Telvin Smith and broken up. So, tough break for the Bucs. Brady, did he not know it was 4th down? Oh, my God, no. Brady didn't know that was 4th down, it looks like. Oh, man. What a tough break. Ouch. What a night for Tampa Bay sports fans. Have yourself a beer or 2 or 3. I certainly wish that I could. This is a tough night. So it looks like the Bucs will drop to 3-2. The Bears 4-1. Wow. Brady finishes 25 of 41, 250, touchdown, gets sacked 3 times. Ronald Jones actually has a decent game, 17 carries for 100 yards. Not a lot going in the receiving game. Mike Evans has 5 catches for 41 yards, a total of 9 targets. Brate had 5 catches, 44 yards. You know, he's going to be in the mix. Wow, Brady did not know that play was 4th down. That is embarrassing. Tyler Johnson, the leading receiver in his first NFL game, 4 catches, 61 yards. So Brady, the guy who likes to yell at everyone and blame people, what is he going to say in the post-game presser that he didn't know it was 4th down? At least I'm not listening to the game, but that's the indication that I'm getting. He put up the 4 fingers and kind of was shrugging. I don't think he would have made that throw if he knew it was 4th down and 5. So there you go. Bucs lose, Rays lose. I'm trying to see if I have any closing statements. We got to the full hour mark, so that's good. I know the show's been all over the place. Glasnow, Cole, all the marbles. I guess try and set the stage a little bit. I mean, to send the Yankees home would be a huge deal. Finally get that monkey off your back and kind of finally establish yourself as no longer the little brother to the big brother bully of the Yankees. If the Yankees win, they'll go and play the Astros, and the narrative will remain the same. You know, Rays poverty franchise, what have you. But I mean, they'll be back next year even if they lose. Tomorrow, what we'll do, if the Rays win Game 5, I'm not going to be on the air because I'm going to be partying, the champagne, all that stuff, just as all of you really should be doing if the Rays win. I'm just throwing that out there. You really should be celebrating because it's a tremendous accomplishment if they get to that point. If they lose, it's going to be depressing, but I'll pull it together, I guess, and I'll drag myself on the air. I'm not sure there's many people that would want to listen to me break down a Game 5 loss, but it'll be on the system and it'll be recorded. So that's the way I'm going to do things. So pray, I guess. I know you guys enjoy the show, and I love that, but for the first time ever, maybe, just hope that you're not hearing me tomorrow. So Yankees, Rays, Game 5, all of the marbles on TBS. It looks like it'll be at 7:10. Glasnow, maybe for a couple innings. Snell, maybe for 4. Got the whole bullpen behind them. Offense, please score more than 1 run for the Yanks. Man, it's going to be tough getting to that pitching staff. Once again, we have to face Garrett Cole twice in an ALDS. Not the 2020 I was hoping for, but here we are. Hopefully the Rays do a little bit better in Game 5 this time around. And I hope I won't see you tomorrow.
Sports Radio 101.9 FM and Sports Radio 66. The Fan.
HBC.